Hey, my friends, back to the Personal Development Unplugged podcast, and here's your heads up. Would it be good to just really dispel the act of gratitude? What? Or would it be good to realize how you can get out of dark and deep places? What? Or would it be good to find out how you can find your ultimate resources and use them for good and find connection? And in that ultimate connection with you and everything around you, get to feel really grateful again and use that gratefulness for everything else. And you'll have more resources than you can stand and be able to use them whenever you like. Well, if that's important to you, you've got to have a listen now, haven't you?
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, friend. Back again. And I'm going to dispel, in a way, dispel the act of gratitude. Because, just feeling grateful for everything and everything's going to be okay. Because that's all you got to do, isn't it? Just feel grateful and everything will be okay. Well, really? Is that just clickbait? Just to get you into listening to somebody prattling on about something that they like, the term act of gratitude. I'm so grateful. I've got this problem. I've got this issue. I'm so grateful with this issue. But my world's, it's a crock of shit at the moment. But I'm so grateful for this crock. Yep, that makes a real difference, doesn't it? Not. But here's the thing. I also have my tongue firmly placed in the side of my cheek. Because I can remember we did this at a training. We did a particular thing. And we got people to just write down. Just look around. Just look around and notice what you could be grateful for. The carpets. Who made those carpets? The chairs you sit on. The music you're listening to. The fact you're here. The room you're in. The cup of coffee in the corner. Where did that all come from? Someone was there to make it for you. Someone grew it. Someone spent time and effort. You could be grateful for just absolutely anything. Because you could be grateful for that, couldn't you? And notice I said could. Because you could be grateful for it. And in those trainings, we did, in some ways, become grateful. Because it was new. It was new. And those lists, I guess, could be endless. And what we also said was, we could mix them as well. Maybe listen to somebody else's and share them. And once you share, the list just gets bigger and bigger. So as I say, it's endless. And boom, the feeling in the room got absolutely wonderful. You could sense the energy was just growing stronger. It was really lovely place to be. But, and here's a but, that was in a training. And people were there of a like mind. People were wanting to do these things. And therefore there was a little bit of, foundation the foundations were already set, in some ways. But what about the real world? Your world? When you sit down at home? When you're feeling good, the old 5 minutes of gratitude in a gratitude journal is easy. Comes to you just like that. And you do feel good. But here's the thing. Didn't you find, I know this is maybe, I won't say you, it's me. I found that sometimes sitting down in the mornings, doing my 5 pieces of gratitude, the things I'm grateful for, got a bit, repetitive. Then you change it, say, I'll have 2 from the past, 2 from the present, and try to find 2 for the future. Okay, that mixed up a little bit. Then it got a bit repetitive. And when it got repetitive, nothing really happened. I sort of felt grateful, but it didn't change my world by very much. So let's have a look. Why am I doing this podcast? And if you feel that good about it, Paul, why are you doing it? Is it just to put down that act of gratitude? Well, I tell you now, absolutely bloody not. Because there's a great thing when you get really grateful. And also, there are so many people that I respect, that have being grateful as one of their top values. Because when they're grateful, they really feel, and there's a word coming up now, connected. And this is what got me into this. Because you see, I was reading a book. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's a guy who became a Buddhist and a Buddhist teacher, Buddhist monk. And he wrote this lovely book, and each chapter is based on different elements of your life, as it were. So there's one on passion, there's one on connection, there's one on family. But the one on connection, he would write about it and then give you these memes. And the memes are good, but sometimes memes are just memes, aren't they? And again, a bit like this act of gratitude, if you do it just too much, sometimes they're nice, but do they really resonate? But then there was one there that said, when you're truly grateful, you are connected with everything. And that got me to think. That really got me to think. You're probably thinking now, how? What did you think of? Come on, Cluffy, spill the beans. You see, this reframed me in a way. This reframed this thought about, how to break this monotony or this repetitiveness for being grateful. See, a long time ago, I had a very black time. It was not a breakdown, but I bet it probably was, of a sort. I try to keep it hidden, as you do. And, you're trying to hide this stuff, and it's so bloody obvious to everyone that you're really struggling, and they try to help. But because you try to hide it, keep it to yourself, you just don't take the help, I guess. And there's a couple of places that you'll remember that I speak of my quiet place. Not my comfortable place, my quiet place. When I would sit in my garden, any time of the day, but generally first thing in the morning. And it didn't matter what the weather was, because it was covered up, just covered over the top so I'd never get wet. Might have been bloody cold, but I could dress up. Cup of coffee. Those days occasionally, I was smoking in those days a bit because, it was helping ease that stress a bit, I guess. I thought it did. Don't smoke now, by the way, because I'm a hypnotist. Did it myself. And I might have a bit of music on, I'd have my journal, I'd have mainly my mind mapping book. Birds were there. And it was just my quiet place. And I think if you go back to hashtag 41, somewhere around about there, and FMQ 82, I go into my quiet place. In fact, there's a hypno track, 82.1, about my quiet place. And you can you can go there. You know how to get there, don't you? And, I'll tell you quickly now. I'll tell you at the end as well. But, just go to paulcloughonline.com/podcast, sign up, email, stay safe. And you can have 50 plus hypnosis tracks, all for free, all downloadable. Keep them wherever you like. Keep them forever. With my compliments. But look for 82.1 if you want to go to my quiet place. It's a place I was just trying to get away from this horrible time I was in. Horrible time. And I guess it was in that darkest moment. Have you ever heard the expression, I got nothing? You know, you talk to someone and say, well, I got nothing. And I had absolutely nothing. And I can remember sitting there in my quiet place thinking, I got nothing. There's no point. And that was it. And I drew a circle in my mind mapping book. I did a lot of mind maps around this issue, trying to get myself out of it. What can I do? How can I do it? Because I was going to be my own therapist. And I was my own therapist. And I wrote in the center of that mind map, my qualities. And I was going to write all about all the good things about me. And as I said, you got that expression? I got nothing. I had nothing. Anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to explain it to you now. I actually narrated this. I haven't put it out yet. I might not put it out, but I narrated this. And it's in chapter 2 of my book, It Doesn't Have to Feel This Way. And again, can't find that either because I haven't put that out yet. So, why not have a listen now? And then you'll understand a bit how I was feeling and what I did. Chapter 2. My qualities. Do I have any? So what did I do? Well, the first time. How did I begin my journey? I had to do something. I had to do something that brought me back into a different reality. Because the reality I was in at that particular time was, although it felt that it was real, really it did not support me. If anyone was looking in at me from the outside of the reality in which I was drowning, they would see it wasn't true. It just wasn't true. So the very first exercise, the very first thing that I did was to go and sit in my quiet place with a piece of paper, and in the middle of that piece of paper, draw a circle. In the middle of that circle, I wrote 2 words, my qualities. I then simply used the time and space I'd given myself to brainstorm, or however you want to call it, just letting my qualities come to the fore again. Because at that particular moment in time, I did not feel I had any qualities at all. You see, just like so many, I was asking myself some really bad questions. Why is this happening to me? How could I feel this bad? How worse can it get? I just didn't seem to be able to go on. Now those questions, and I'll go on to questions later, those types of questions just really set your unconscious mind off to go and find the wrong answers. And your unconscious mind will find and give you those answers. It will make them up for you. It will get a square peg and push it into that round hole. It will go to all your experiences and find the things that match, or kind of match. And whilst they may be true from your experience, they're not true for your life in general. So I went into my quiet place. And it's great to have a quiet place. Everyone should have a quiet place that you can call your own. A place to reflect. A place to actually get to know your unconscious mind, because it's your unconscious mind that's running all of this. Doing it with the best intentions. But it just doesn't feel good. So in that quiet place, I sat there and listened, asking myself these questions. What are my qualities? What qualities do I have? What things can I be proud of? And I sat and listened to me, myself, to my answers. Now, some people think when you ask these type of questions, you're going to get a wonderful, great voice which goes, I'll tell you what the answer is. But sometimes it's just a feeling that you can express in words. Or maybe it's some words that come to your mind, a sense of, or an awareness. So as I sat there quietly, I began to just let my pen move in my hand as I listened. These are the things I wrote and some of them really surprised me, as I really was not feeling like them. Well, not at that moment. I'm trusting. I'm also trustworthy. I'm honest, true and truthful. And I have my health. I even wrote, I'm alive, I'm breathing, and I'm here. I wrote down that I was loyal to the end. And maybe it was time for me to be loyal to myself. I knew in the past I'd been humorous, funny. I certainly had a sense of humour. So I wrote that down as well. Sure, I maybe didn't feel like it at the time. And that's a massive understatement. But I knew that these were also qualities that I had. I wrote down that I thought I was reasonably intelligent, that I'd been confident, and that I'd had an inner strength in the past. I knew during the good times that I'd been very caring, thoughtful, devoted and supportive. I also wrote that I'd supported many people. And maybe it was time to support myself. This simple start, this act of writing things down in my quiet space, this was part of me making the decision to do just that, to support myself. I knew that I'd been loving. I could be warm and sensitive. Although sometimes in the past I hadn't shown it. This was still a quality I had though. Because we are not talking about the negative qualities. We want to tune into the real qualities, the inner qualities. I could be passionate. I could be soft. That I'd been romantic in the past. I knew I could share things. I could share things with other people. And maybe, this was time to share and give to myself. I'd certainly been supportive, and in the past, there were times when I'd been supported too. I'd been loved. And I would just think of the people who I loved in the past. Loved in many different ways. I've been supported by people in many different ways too. I knew deep down I'd been kind and I'd been helpful. I knew I could be creative. I'd been creative in the past, and there were so many different ways that I'd been creative in the kitchen, in the home, with my thoughts. And when you think about it, from the very first poem, it was very, very creative. And then one of the last things to come to my mind was I had this thing inside me that I would call you and I, my inner strength. I guess you could call it the unconscious mind, my best friend who I hadn't listened to always. Sometimes I'd acted on instinct, and when I'd had that experience of using all those wonderful qualities. Just by thinking and asking the questions about these qualities, it began to give me a warm feeling. A feeling that there was something at the end of the tunnel, and the faint glow of hope that things would be okay. I had something and some things that I would begin to go back to re-experience again. There were things I loved. I'm sure there are so many more things that I can continue to ask and be reminded of. Because I truly had qualities. I just wasn't at that particular time aware of them. So it was a great thing to just sit down and have these qualities reaffirmed to me, by myself, to myself, and to be able to reread them. They would spark off memories, and each memory would spark off an emotion. I could choose to become more curious. As a therapist, I'm always curious how I can get people to be curious about themselves and how they can use these qualities. I didn't know yet how I would use these qualities, but I would then go back and reflect on these. These qualities I was going to magnify to be bigger and better in my life now. So whenever I, on my roller coaster of a journey, would be on the slope, the downward path for a moment or two, I was able to pick up this piece of paper and just say to myself, yeah, these are my qualities. I'd probably have much more to offer. Just didn't know at the time. Didn't know how to. But now I do. Just this one small exercise to set off my unconscious mind into knowing how important it was to me to feel those feelings again. As I began to focus on those feelings, I began to notice them in different places. I think we all know the saying, you get what you focus on. And if you focus on the negative, you will attract the negative. I was now focusing positively on me and in me. If you ask wonderful, bonky questions, why is this happening to me? Then what's happening to you is what you get. And guess what? You even get more of it. Just by seeing these wonderful qualities and knowing that, well, they're so important. And they have been important in supporting you. You can allow these qualities to drift off and attract more. It begins a foundation of new and old learnings, and a foundation for this journey. The first step to remind ourselves that we are something of quality. Why? Because we are. And you truly are too. So go ahead. Go ahead and get that piece of paper. Draw the circle. And in the middle of it, write my qualities. It's as simple as that. My qualities. And ask inside, what are my qualities? What are the things I've enjoyed? Because if you've enjoyed something, you created it. And you're responsible for it. You had it inside you and had the resources inside you to create it. The more we recognize and acknowledge and accept those qualities, they will begin to magnify within us. Because as I told myself, this pain I was feeling, this anger I was feeling, this sadness I was feeling, the good feelings came later, by the way. These emotions, these negative emotions, are not acceptable. I hear people say, just accept it. No! It's not acceptable. Any negative emotion is not acceptable. You can acknowledge it because that is what you are feeling, you are aware of at this moment in time. But they're not acceptable. The purpose behind that emotion, the cause, will have a positive intention. Will have something positive for you, which we'll discover later. But the actual feeling, the associated behavior is totally unacceptable. When you acknowledge it, you don't fight it. When you fight something and you go to push it away, it gets stronger. So just by simply acknowledging it, it's now ready to move on. And just on the side, by the way, if you're feeling a feeling that you don't want, a feeling that's causing you some type of pain, hurt, anger, sometimes, just as a quick fix, just become aware where that feeling is in your body. And as you become aware of where that feeling is, I want you to put all your attention, all your awareness into that center of that feeling. Hold it. Don't embrace it. Just simply hold your awareness in it. Be there in the center of it. Experience it fully. Sometimes you may notice it has an intensity. It may have colors. It may have a shape or a weight, a temperature. Just notice it. Notice all these things. And as you hold it still in your awareness, notice all these things as you hold it still in your awareness. As you do this, you'll find it begins to disappear all by itself because you've acknowledged it. You've not fought against it, and you certainly haven't accepted it. Sometimes you can, as you become aware of those feelings, put your awareness into the center of those feelings. Ask these questions. What do you want for me? What can I learn from this? How can I use the learnings to move forward and let this go? Just sit quietly in your quiet place. I'm sure you have a quiet place you can find, somewhere where it can be peaceful. I just love the water, so I might go and sit by the river. I have a wonderful quiet place. There's sometimes a fountain where I can hear the running water. There are plants, restful plants, and I can hear the wind rustling. In my quiet place, I don't feel alone, because in that quiet place, you do not feel alone. I do not feel by myself. You begin to feel with yourself, with my unconscious mind that I call you and I. I just sit as two friends. That one friend inside, the one friend that is going to do everything in his power to restore your life, to be even better than it was before. Hard to believe I know at this moment, but it will. So that was the first thing I did, my qualities mind map. And when I finished, I sat and looked at it and said to myself, well, do you know what? I've got some bloody good things here. I'm a good person. I have some really good qualities. I'm going to find some more because I enjoy this. And that is what I did. That was the first step on my journey too. You could call it freedom. Freedom from that situation and those pains. Just letting them go slowly, but very, very surely. So can you too. Go on, treat yourself. Do that exercise and find out the real qualities that you have inside, because you can build upon them. Okay, go do it.
There you go. That was chapter 2. Everything I was feeling and what I did. But the thing is, when I got this connection thing, these qualities of mine, my qualities, it got me to feel grateful about being me. I did have bloody qualities. Yeah, I was in a, didn't you swear then? A dark place. And I will try to keep the swearing down because I did that little thing about having two podcasts of the same, one explicit, one not. And the non-explicit actually got more listens. So I'll try to keep that down. But for the odd few who like swearing, I might throw a quick one in, but not for the moment. But I just really felt connected with me. And because I felt connected with me and connected with something, those qualities, that black time started to disappear. And I think it was my turning point, my tipping point, as it were. It was my tipping point of being able to move, to start something different. Now, we took this to a training. When I say we, it was my son and I, Joseph, we were both trainers of NLP, and we would do a weekend called Be Your Potential Weekend, all around his book. Great book, by the way, Be Your Potential by Joseph Clough. Have a read of that. That's an awesome book. And the weekend was based about that, and it took people from clearing away bits of their past, the past that was stopping them actually getting their future, the things they wanted, their goals, getting ready for the now, and then putting what they want in the future. Great weekend. People had awesome results. So that's why I say it's a great book to get. Get nothing for that, by the way, because he's my son, but it is a great book. I've read it. I was there when it happened. And the thing is, in the middle, this thing about the now, we took a chance and said, well, in this weekend, why don't we just do my qualities? We're not going to do this act of gratitude by looking at different things in the room. So I got up and just quickly explained how, from my dark place, I got my qualities. And we asked people to do the same. And they're in a pretty good place, but they'd been letting go of stuff and they're in this middle bit. Let's have a quick look at our qualities. And we got them to spend 10 minutes going through, doing their own mind map. And then we said, would someone be brave enough to stand up or sit down, stay sitting, and just give us, everyone in the room, one of their qualities? And it was quiet for a little while. And I said, I've shared all mine. In fact, I showed them my original mind map of my qualities. And I said, I've shown you all mine. So someone came up and gave one of their qualities. And then somebody else said, well, here's one of mine. And then somebody else. And I said, woo. Here's the thing. Would it be okay just to share it with a couple of people in the room? So we'll just play some music. You go around and have someone you've only met this week, and you're probably not going to see them again. So it's okay to share. And they did. And it didn't stop there because they kept sharing and sharing. And the noise in the room got louder and louder. It was like a hubbub of real wonderful noise. And the energy in the room, talk about that energy in the room when I said, well, people are going around the room trying to be grateful for what they've got in the room. But when there were people about that grateful and that connection of who they are, they were sharing, they were looking at other people's, congratulating people. There was hugging going on because you could hug. Back to those days of hugging, eh? And it was awesome. There was also loads of tears, like me. It was awesome. And everyone was so connected. And I found out, more importantly, that going through that process of my qualities got me to connect deeper and deeper with me and other people. And it meant that I could now start looking at other things. Remember that stopping and pausing? I can just stop and pause and look around. And I could be grateful for all sorts of things. And I was talking to somebody the other day. It's one of those things where it started to be triggered off by walking somewhere, and all of a sudden I would stop for no reason at all, and just for 30 seconds, look around and be grateful with wonder. So yeah, the act of gratitude is awesome. Sometimes we just have to tweak it. Sometimes we have to get another burst of energy into it. Because now if I wanted to write out what I'm grateful for, I would go really deep. And I know if it got repetitive, I'd go somewhere else. I'd look at my qualities. I'd even do that mind map again, maybe. Or I'd go out into nature. Or I'd just go anywhere. And I think a lot of it goes to having the right intention. The right intention. When I did my qualities right at the very beginning, I had the intention. I just needed some help. I just needed to find a thing to help me. And I got it. My old unconscious mind, my old you and I, as I call it, came to the forefront and helped me. And it was blooming awesome. And you have to just be honest with yourself. Giving yourself permission, as it were, to feel it. Sometimes it's, I'm not going to swear, but there was a book by John C. Parkin it's got F It. You know what the rest of it is, but it's a great book. I listened to it on audio. He speaks it through, and it's awesome how just sometimes giving yourself permission by saying that word enabled him. And when I was doing it occasionally, it enabled me to suddenly stop, break state, as it were, and say, let's have a look at really what's happening. If you go to hashtag 165, the podcast, 165, it's a slight swear word in there. It's mother effitude. Let's try not to swear, but go there. Just when you listen to it and the way this lady came out with that word, it broke the mold. It strips away everything. You become alive. And when you become alive, you can be grateful. Really, really grateful. And it feels great. And it's connected. So there you go. Just have a think. Have a think. Stop and pause. And just, have more fun than you can stand with it. So what could you do? Here's my little call to action. So what else would you like? I mean, sometimes we might need a little bit more confidence to do this with ourselves. And I've got my supreme inner confidence. This is my little just sharing of the programs I've got, by the way. So just bear with me. But you got supreme inner confidence. And when I say supreme, it's your supreme self, inner confidence. Great program. Let's go. And it's some ways based on that weekend, but it's not. But it releases the past. It gets into the present and into the future. Free your life from anxiety. Similar thing. Great course. Got deep relaxation, a great hypnosis set. I think there's 2 tracks there. One giving you really deep relaxation and the other one how to trigger it off virtually instantaneously. creating an inner retreat in your mind where you can go and just be there. Maybe that's a place where you would go to be quiet and be grateful for. Go back and see pictures in your mind. You could maybe have a grateful room in your inner retreat. And there's 4 hypnosis tracks of that one. What else could you do? You've got those 50 plus hypnosis tracks. You'll find them. They're all there. I'm not even sure if I did my qualities one. I'll have to have a look. If I haven't, maybe I'll do one. So what else is there? Well, we've got processes. There's webinars about. I've got a Facebook page if you want to do that. You've got to sign up to the newsletter. You can send me feedback at personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Anything you need, we can sort something out. And also, if you need help, one-to-one with me, either Luke or any other wonderful hypnotherapist, you have to take that action. Because where I was in a dark place, it was a horrible place, and it took a lot of my real determination, really going deep inside to get the stuff I want. But get help if you need it. If not, I would suggest just follow that, do a mind map of my qualities. It would and will make a huge difference to you. It really will. It seems so simple. It seems too simple. But when you get into it deeply, you suddenly realize what a bloody good person you are. What wonderful qualities you've got. And what would happen if I started to access those qualities and start using them unconsciously and consciously. Because the thing is, when you start getting into it, you have to feel them. And when you feel them, you're telling your unconscious mind, this feels bloody good. And I bet your best friend then goes, do you know what? Let's start using more. And you can have a look at it every now and again, just refresh your mind. Boom. You start connecting. Being the real you, singing from your real voice, playing that wonderful instrument, you. Becoming the instrument that is you. Creating dreams. Reaching your goals, exceeding your goals. Wouldn't that be awesome? All from knowing who you are and connecting. This is such a great process to find the resources that you have that you can use now and in the future. Anyway, that's me sprouting off. Well, so much. I hope you enjoyed this. I really do. Remember, any feedback you like, please do email me, whether it's something you liked about this episode or the whole podcast itself, or there's something that you've got a bit of critique in. I'm cool with critique. Or if there's anything that you'd like as a subject matter or help with, just write it on an email. You'll get a lovely personal reply from me. Maybe a little hypno gift in there. I'm not sure. But it's that feedback. I love the feedback. And let's make this podcast as rich as we can with lots of little golden nuggets that just allow you to be the best you. Okay? And don't forget, because I'm not going to do an outro to this, don't forget. Please, I know you want to. Here we go again. I know you want to share this right away. I know you want to share it now to all your friends, but please don't. Please don't share it to all your friends right now. Just when you finish listening to this, just send, maybe share it to 10 a day. Just all your friends. Now. All of them. Now. Did you get it? But if you share this podcast, you're doing so many things. It makes me feel good because I see people reacting to it. It gets more popular, which means more people are getting the benefit from it. You're going to get the benefit because it feels good to share things, and they're going to say, oh, this is so good. And you're going to see them change, and you'll change too. That's awesome. I'm sure you're subscribed. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. It's somewhere there on this thing you're listening to. Just have a quick look. Press the subscribe button, and you'll get these longer podcasts all the time. The FMQs, they're going to come out pretty randomly. Something I hear or learn or just do. If it's in a 5-minute form, I'm going to just throw those out to you. So keep an eye out for those, because they're not going to come out every Wednesday like they used to. Got the Saturday longer podcast, but the FMQs will come out every now and again. And do have a look, please, at paulcloughonline.com for all those programs. They're really good, and you get a discount. Remember, PDU40, that's a code to get 40% off. If you sign up to the hypnosis tracks at paulcloughonline.com podcast, you'll get even more. Okay? I think I covered everything there, didn't I? Until the next time, my friend, It is your friend, Paul. Have more fun than you can stand with hypnosis.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.